You are now tuning into Out the Box Radio Show. Entertainment at its best. Hot topics, games, and unforgettable interviews. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, it has been so
Welcome
long.
back. Woo!
Welcome back.
Everybody, I feel like this is a brand new show, don't
It
it?
does feel like that.
Gosh, everyone, we've been going for weeks, and I'm not exaggerating when I say weeks. It's been quite a minute, but I'm super happy to be here with my co-host, Jonay Simmons.
Hi.
What's up, JoJo?
A lot.
Why was there a pause there? You know I don't like pauses.
My mouth hurts. Can you guys see?
You can't really tell, actually, in there. Jonay has, I think they're beautiful, though. Jonay has some very pretty braces
I
on.
have braces.
And I was telling her before the show started that I was considering doing the same thing because I know my teeth are not perfect. And I've been told several times by people in Hollywood, agents especially, you need to get your mouth fixed. And I'm like, you need to get a life fixed. Don't come for me because, look, I work full-time for the government, so I don't need to do anything. So don't try it. Don't try it. Just don't try me, okay? We have a very special guest. We're rolling into October. It's already October.
Yeah.
That sounds so weird to say. We're rolling into October with a very special guest today. We are going to be interviewing Jasper Cole. Now, Jasper is an actor, entertainer, who's out in L.A. And we're going to be talking to him very soon. In just a few minutes, he's going to be calling in about 5 minutes. We have a lot of questions to ask Mr. Cole. We want to get to know all the scoop and everything he's been doing in the entertainment industry. He's got some tips and tricks together make ticks. He's got some ticks, y'all. And we can't wait to find out what they are. But before we do that, I do want to read a few things out. And Jonay is going to be with me, helping me out. Because what I was doing, you know I do my research.
Yes.
I was doing some research on Mr. Jasper. Now, I was looking online, and I saw from another interview he did, which was on thriveglobal.com, somebody had asked him some tips, 5 things that he wishes that somebody told him before he first got started into acting. And I think this is very helpful because we have a lot of people who are in the acting industry who tune into our show. So shout out to you all, actors, actresses, dancers, musicians, everyone, but especially those who are doing acting. We know we have a lot of viewers who do that and friends to the show. So I thought this would be very beneficial because these are things that we've talked about before and some new ones too that might help you guys out. So I thought it was very helpful. So Jonay, I'm going to let you go ahead and start because I know we have about 5 more minutes before Jasper calls in. So go ahead and read which one that you have on your list that you find to be one of your favorite ones that stands out to you the most.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with this one. I think the first thing I wish someone had told me early on was forget about chasing an agent and parts. Find a great therapist that you can trust because it's not an easy path you've chosen, and your friends and family can't spend hours every day listening to you whine about your career or lack thereof. LOL. Actors tend to be self-involved as it's the nature of the beast. And having a great professional you trust to help you navigate the ups and downs is great. I think that is wonderful advice. Me, myself, I have a therapist.
I need one. Maybe I need you to refer me.
Yes,
I need one.
I do. I talk to her. And I think that's really good advice. I've never even thought about that.
People don't think about that, especially if you're in the entertainment industry, and that's why it's so important to know. I'm going to read one of my favorite ones, and I love Jasper for this because this is something I've thought about for so long but haven't really heard anyone really tell anybody this yet so far. So those of you who are tuning in, listen to this. Stop saying when I make it. Okay? Stop saying when I make it.
That goes for me too.
Same here. We all do it. And that's not reality. You are making it every day that you're working as an actor. It's the whole journey that you're on. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There will be many making it moments, but if you're constantly wanting to make it, you're missing out on being in the moment and fully experiencing all the great times along the way. Wow. When I say I get chills when I hear that, it's very true though. We encounter this all the time and we don't think about it.
We don't.
we just automatically say, you know what, I'm not there yet, because we're comparing ourselves to others, and we're comparing ourselves to top-notch actors who we see in these movies on TV, and we think that we're supposed to be where they are at the flick of a finger. No, you have to work for it. You have to work hard for it in the career, and every little bit counts. Every audition counts. Every small gig counts. No matter what you do, if you're in the entertainment industry, every part counts.
Every part counts.
Do you have another one, Jonay? Because there was 5 of them. We might have another to read 2 more.
Okay. Let me see.
They're all good.
It is. All right. In the beginning, take every job you can and absorb it all. No job or part is too small for you because you will learn each time. And that's really good advice, especially when you're first starting out. A lot of times people are like, no, I want to make some money. I want to make extra money, but a lot of the roles that you'll get are non-paid, but that's where you get
and don't be
the
discouraged.
experience. Yeah, don't be discouraged. You get a lot of experience. You meet a lot of people. It's a great way to network, even though you're not getting paid. So, and it could be some really great stuff you can put on your resume, your reel. So yeah, I agree.
Now I'm gonna read one more because actually Jess was about to call in. Which one did you just read? The third one?
I
don't want to read the same one as Jonay did.
The third one.
Okay, I'm gonna read the last one because it says lastly. So you know what? Why not, right? So number 5 on his tips and feedback. She's drinking out of a flask, y'all. It's mouthwash. Don't worry. Number 5. Lastly, we can't play every and all parts. I repeat, we cannot play every and all parts. Okay? I wish I had learned early on to know my type and pick a lane and pursue those roles. It took me years to be typecast, and it's been a blessing, not a bad thing. Don't waste years falling in between the cracks trying to go out for every type of role there is. Market yourself in the lane you belong and become the best at it. Now, when Jasper calls in, I am going to talk to him about this one as well because I do have some comments on it.
Me too.
And I love that he said that. So I want to talk to him about that and see where his mind was when he said that. And why he thinks that's also, it's not a bad thing. But I'm curious to see why he does think it's a good thing because I think a lot of us don't look at it that way.
Right.
So we're going to be definitely talking to Jasper about that when he calls in, plus a lot more. So I'm super excited for that. Jonay, can I ask you what is in that flask? Because now I'm really curious. It's not mouthwash,
It's apple
guys.
Ciroc.
Ooh.
I'm trying to numb the pain. My mouth really hurts.
Poor thing. They have a new one out, and I forgot what it's called. It's the new bottle Ciroc. It's brand new.
No.
Why can't I think of it, y'all? Help me out.
Do you all know?
Yeah, if you know, comment.
No,
It's
I
the
don't
new
know.
Ciroc flavor. It just came out like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
But it looks really good. Oh, it's white grape or something.
White grape.
But it looks really, really good.
Okay.
I believe
We
we,
have a
may
call.
have Jasper on the phone with us. Jasper, is that you?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey,
Hi,
how's it going?
Jasper.
How are you guys?
We're great. How
we
are you?
even better now that you are on the phone with us.
I'm good. So let me ask you, are you in Georgia?
No.
Well, we have a Georgia number.
Okay.
Yeah, our
because
network,
I'm from Georgia, and I saw that area code, and I thought maybe
it's
I'm
familiar,
at home.
right? Yes, our network and one of our managers here is actually from Georgia, so they also have like a division in Georgia as well. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
well, we certainly appreciate you for calling in. And for those of you who are tuning in right now, we have Jasper Cole on the phone with us, actor and entertainer. He just mentioned he's from Georgia. I was going to talk about that. He's now in L.A., I believe, if I'm not mistaken, living and breathing out in L.A., one of the hardest cities to be in as far as entertainment. But he is doing it. He is definitely doing it. So, Jasper, I want to ask you just to back up a little bit. You mentioned you're from Georgia. What part?
well, I grew up in Athens, Georgia, the college town, UGA.
Yeah.
About 60 miles north of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to Athens once. I like Athens.
Yeah, I always say it really saved me from being just a complete moron. No, because the South gets such a bad rap. But honestly, because of the university, we had such a mixture, such a great diversity of people from all over the world, and it was just a wonderful place to grow up. You never appreciate, of course, where you are until you leave. And
That's very true.
Isn't that true?
Right?
That is so true.
As much as I say, hey, Baltimore, I'm ready to leave, I'm going to miss it.
Right.
Yes, you would.
Yeah. I could. Well, it's weird because, I couldn't wait to leave there and go to Hollywood. And now, of course, Atlanta's become like, South Hollywood.
It is.
It's so ironic. In fact, 2 days ago, October 1st was my 32nd anniversary in Los Angeles.
Wow, congratulations.
Wow.
Well, in 1987, it was my first morning was the Whittier earthquake. And so, I didn't know anything about earthquakes, and I thought this was not a good sign, but yeah, so I left Georgia to come here in 87.
Wow.
I'm old.
That's it. Well, no, you're living and you're living the dream is what
wise.
you're doing. Right. Yeah, exactly. You have a lot of experience and feedback to give on the process. Now, we have a lot of people who tune in who are entertainers because Jonay and myself are also in the entertainment, not just radio, but also acting as well. And so we have a lot of good friends to the show who've been here and who watch who are entertainers. And that's why I'm excited to do this interview with you because they're going to be able to relate, but also I want them to hear the feedback from you because to me, you are a mogul in the industry. You've been in it for a while, so you have that feedback to provide. I wouldn't ask for anybody else who doesn't have the right amount of time into it invested.
Right.
So
that's very true.
Well, thank you. A lot of people don't know, but I'm also a manager. I've been managing for the last 15 years, so I also get to come at it from the other side of the business.
Right.
So anyway, I still love it. I was always that kid who loved show business. Like my brain is full of so much just worthless showbiz stuff.
But look where it got you now. That's pretty awesome.
I guess so, and I do my radio show myself, my podcast, and a lot of that is just entertainment based. And I always think, well, I guess having knowing about a TV show in the '70s sometimes comes in handy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, there is something, and we were talking, I don't know if you were tuning in before you called in, but we were going over some things, because you actually did an interview, I think maybe not too long ago with Thrive Global, and they asked you 5 things that you wish someone had told you before you got started in the industry. Now, we read some of them off on the show because for us, this really hits home. And a lot of people will be able to relate who are tuning in. And there's one, they're all great, first of all 5. And there's one that I just read that I wanted to ask you about, and it's about being typecasted. Because... Well,
I apologize. I did not... I just tuned in, so I didn't hear that part of the interview.
That's okay. Well, we'll get into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so, again, we read through at least 3 of these out of the 5 things that you mentioned. But the last one... And this is more personal for me, I really want to know, because some people take it as a bad thing when they're here or when they are being typecasted, and you kind of twisted it and turned it around a little bit in a positive way, which is good. And I've never heard anybody give positive feedback on being typecasted.
Being typecast, making lemonade out of lemons.
Exactly.
No, you know what it comes down to is, you guys know as actors, we start out. In our head, in our heart and minds, we can play everything.
Yes.
And we want to play a range, and we want to do. And I always say, that's what the stage is for, and that's what theater is for. Yep. But when it comes to TV and film, I had to learn sort of the hard way. I don't think I ever wasted years because, of course, that was part of my journey. But if I could have really known about types and TV and film early on, I think I would have saved myself a lot of sort of heartache and disappointment, because I, like you, thought, I can't get typecast. But what I've learned, if I had not been typecast in the last 15 years playing bad guys and homeless guys, all these characters, I wouldn't be working. And
That's true.
It's all about, it comes down to, you got to look at it as show business. And so the business side is where agents and managers need to make money with you, and we all need to make money. Right. You got to make money in SAG to pay your health insurance.
That's true.
The nuts and bolts of what people don't think about is, in order to get health insurance, there's a minimum every year, and they keep raising that minimum earnings.
Yep.
So you got to like figure out how to make money. Commercials used to be such a gold mine for actors, but sadly, you know, in the last 2 or 3 years, most of the commercials have gone non-union, and so it's been a real dilemma for a lot of us because you don't want to cross the, you know, non-union and go against your union, but
right.
You know, and so commercials were always a way for many of us to really make our living and make our insurance. So to your point, I've loved being typecast because now I am on a list, some sort of list, you know? Right. And so, but I totally understand because I was sort of coming at it from the other way as well, and I just sort of consciously put effort into creating a certain look for myself, and I consciously went after seeing if I could break through in this sort of bad guy character. Well, here's the truth. I was always a character actor, kind of stuck in this sort of boring body. Like I wasn't I wasn't leading man Hollywood looking, but I wasn't like character looking enough. So I was always sort of in the middle, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, it was just a matter of like taking it more to the grizzled, you know, grittier side, which I think actually the better role. It's been more fun playing the bad guys.
Yeah. Oh,
it seems like it's more fun.
It's a lot of fun. I oftentimes, and this is not a bad thing, but for me, I'm still at the point in my career, if you will, or my life where I'm like, okay, I'm still on the other side of where you were before, where I'm like, dang it, I'm being typecasted, but I'm beginning to understand that it's a benefit. It's not something that's less than that, and I need to really grasp my head around that. But I'm always typecasted as a killer or murderer. And that, I mean, you know what?
That's true.
You are. That's
always
great.
But it's so much fun, and I shouldn't complain because every time I do it, I'm like, this is so much fun. To be the killer,
Right.
I'm not running away from the person. I'm the one who's killing them or acting crazy. It's fun.
Well,
I'm sure it is.
It's so much fun. You know, I always get killed. I can't seem to stay alive in anything. I keep thinking, well, surely they can bring me back, and then they're like, no, remember we killed you, Jasper. I'm like, oh, shit, that's right. But yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's funny because I don't know about you, but I grew up in Georgia, blah blah blah. But I don't really like. I'm not into guns and shooting and all that. So I play all these parts where it doesn't matter how many times I've done it. It seems like every time they've got to show me again on the set, like, okay, remember Jasper? Remember, this is an AK-15, and you've got to hold it like this.
Right.
Oh, yes. Oh.
It's just so far from my real life and my real personality, but that's probably why it makes it fun. But I'm just saying, look, be grateful. Yes, start being.
Have to be, yes.
You know, start being really grateful that they're thinking of you in that particular way.
Right.
Then I say, you know, within our genre, we can try to navigate around. You know, like now I'm trying to play the victims more than just always being the aggressor.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm still the kind of creepy victim, but at least it's, you know what I mean? At least like this new film I have, Anyone Home, I kind of get to play. The tables are turned on me, and I'm sort of taken hostage, and so
that's good. So
it's nice to kind of show a vulnerability, you know. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, so I do have a question. So who or what inspired you to become an actor, and when did you first start acting?
Well, it's funny. I tell the same. I don't mean to keep telling the same story, but you know, it's the truth. I mean, I love these people who try to like mix it up on interviews. I'm like, well, then you're making it up. But because honestly, I remember vividly watching The Wizard of Oz as a kid, and then just being mesmerized. I can't sing or dance, but and then later, like it's mentioned, I was just always into television more so than movies. But in my high school, I grew up in a college town. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. In all honesty, doing theater and the performing arts back in the day, it just wasn't something, quote, cool. Yeah. And so in my heart, I really wanted to be in the theater department, not on the football field. But so I would like secretly sneak into the auditorium and watch them rehearsing, and I was like a closet thespian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and ironically, again, I don't know, as I get older, I don't believe in accidents anymore, but they were doing a production of The Wizard of Oz in my senior year, and I was in the back watching, just squirming in my seat. I don't know what I thought I would play because I can't sing. But so I really did not pursue anything until I graduated from high school, and I tried college a couple of times, but basically I ended up getting some extra work in a movie that came to Athens.
Right.
And I got upgraded to a speaking part, and then from that point on, I was just full on, like everything, and moved to Atlanta, and the journey was on. But
That's awesome.
So I guess in my heart, I was always acting, but I didn't pursue it till after high school.
Right.
Gotcha.
No,
Yeah.
as an actor, we all have things that we like and we prefer to do. We don't always get what you like, but, you take what you can get. But as an actor, for you and what you like, what genre, if you will, of production do you enjoy being able to bring to life? So like comedy, drama, action, thriller, what is your favorite?
Well, it's so ironic. When I moved to LA, I had co-written a play. It's a really kind of raunchous comedy. I really thought I was going to be like a stand-up comedian and a sitcom star. The comedy I thought was going to be my thing because I think my basic personality is very caustic and funny and whatever. And so I thought that would be the path. And then lo and behold, I end up playing in all these dramatic parts because even now when I get cast on a comedy, I'm still the bad guy. I'm not the funny guy. Part of the reason I actually started my podcast, One-on-One with Jasper Cole, I wanted to give the industry a chance to get to know my real personality, so it wasn't just always that creepy guy that was killing people.
Right.
So I really thought I really am most comfortable with comedy. That would be, but I'm thrilled to get the dramatic work. I'm getting to the point now where my body and my age is like, if I can just get the 4-camera sitcom where you pull up to the same parking spot every day and go into a sound stage.
Yeah.
The 1-hour shows are like 12 and 14 hours on location. Not complaining.
Yeah.
People, not complaining.
Nope.
It beats anything else I've done,
Yeah.
but it's just within the business, you start going, oh, well, we always call the sitcoms the banker hours, because it's a much easier schedule. But I just love, because theater was my great love. So for me, a sitcom is like the combination of doing theater and TV at the same time.
That is true. I never thought about it like that. That's
because
very
you have the
true.
live audience there,
Which is the best type of interaction you can get is from a live audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really weird when you do comedy. When you do comedy on film or TV, and it's just the crew.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you don't know what's really landing, and then you go see the movie, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
at least with the live audience, you feel that instant feedback, even if they put the applause sign on.
Yeah. Hey, it's helping you out.
Yeah. The laugh track.
Right.
So Jasper, tell us about I'm really interested to know about this. Tell us about your memorable encounter with Little Richard.
Oh,
How
I
did
heard
that
about
go?
this.
Oh my God! Well, you know what's so funny? When I did that interview recently, it's weird how things. It's not that I had. Well, I guess I had forgotten it, but when I read the question, it was weird because all of a sudden it just came to me. It's like it's not even something a story I had been telling that often, but. Yeah, so when I first moved to LA, I still had my Georgia license plate on my little beat-up Toyota Corolla, and I had pulled up on Sunset Boulevard to, back in the day, the ATM machines. That's the only way we had to get money out, and I just sort of put the flashers on my car, and I ran up to the thing, and I remember. So I hear this car horn blowing, and I hear someone yell out, "Hey, Georgia Peach." And of course it's Sunset Boulevard, right? So I'm thinking, oh God, what is this?
You're the only one.
Right, I'm like 22 years old. So, but I turn around and there's one of those, long in the 80s, the white stretch limos, and the back window is down, and from a distance, I didn't know who it was at first, but long story short, it was the Little Richard, and he was explaining to me how he was from Macon, Georgia, and grew up in Georgia, and blah blah blah, and we had a nice encounter, and he just wanted to say, wish me all the best, and I told him I was an actor, and it was just one of those amazing encounters, and I've had many of those in my career, but that was one in particular. And then I tell the story that many years later, I think like in 2010, this was that happened in 1989, 90, and then 2010, once again at a bank, but it was my credit union. I turned to leave and was walking out the door, and I see, you can't miss little Richard.
No.
It's like noon, and he's beat to death, just full makeup, right? And so I see him coming, and, I have no idea how old. He's ageless, but you figure he was probably 80 at this time. But here he comes, and I now have this long hair and beard, and I look nothing like I did, 20 years earlier. So to myself, I just thought, oh, well, I'll just hold the door for him. There's no way I'm going to embarrass myself and try to bring that story up.
Right.
And so as I'm holding the door and he starts to go through, and then he stopped and he turned and he goes, "Hey there, Georgia Peach."
Wow.
And it was like, what?
Isn't that crazy?
I was blown away because I just was amazed, and he gave me a big hug, and he said, I've been following you. I know who you are. I've been watching your career.
Wow.
And so again, we had this wonderful conversation, and it was just one of those magical moments where I just don't believe there are any such thing as happenstance or accidents in life, and he gave me, it was an encouraging word when I first met him, and it was a even more encouraging word just to see him all those years later, and he acknowledged, I always say, well, it was better than if I had been homeless laying out in front of the building, I guess, if he came out,
Right.
A lot better.
Different interaction between you two, but
Man, that's amazing. That's so
Isn't
dope.
that good?
Yes.
I can't even remember who I met yesterday, let alone 20 years later.
Oh, my God, right?
Oh, my gosh.
I just don't, listen, I have literally walked past people. They don't even remember. If they haven't seen me in the last 15 years, then most people don't recognize me at all. So that's why I was shocked that he recognized me. And
that's before the facial hair and everything, right? That's before you have the look that you have now.
Oh, yeah. I was when I first moved to LA, I was 22, but I could play like teenagers.
Right.
So I was playing college kids or high school kids. And then 10 years ago I was 45. So when I ran into him again, but I did just look him up, he's still with us, and he's in his 80s, and God bless him.
Yeah.
I could still see him. Ironically, it sparred me now. I really want to have him on my podcast. So
that would be, you should.
That would be awesome.
That's
reach out to him. Yeah.
So we've been reaching out. We've been trying to set that up because I think that was a sign for me to bring him back around now and have him on the show.
That would be.
Oh, I hope you get it. Let us know, because we want to tune into it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
I'm wondering if it's the eyes. You know how people say you see through the eyes, and even if it's years later, you might not recognize someone physically or by their features, but through the eyes. So maybe he recognized maybe something in your eyes.
I generally wear my hair in a ponytail. I've never rocked a man bun, so no one makes fun of me. Thank God.
Thank God.
But,
I like man buns.
Well,
nice.
I don't really hate them, but I guess a lot of people do. But but no, so at least, I don't know. You're right. It could be the eyes, but it's just it was so weird. But he looked exactly the same.
Yeah. And that's how I want to be when I get older, because I want to look exactly the same 30 years.
He hadn't changed a bit, so black don't crack. That's for sure.
Girl.
Right?
Yes.
Here we go.
Right.
Preach.
No. No, I won't either when I get injections.
Oh my God.
There we have it. Nothing wrong.
Here we go,
I'm
Hollywood.
not judging you either. No.
You gotta have a face for Hollywood. You have to have a face. All right. Now, you were awarded the Best Screen Villain, which I love, by International Nollywood Film Festival this year. And I want to know, what do you enjoy the most about being an on-screen villain? What's your favorite part?
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys. That was really nice. I said it when I got the award, and I meant it. I've literally never won anything, not even a scratch off, like on a lottery ticket. So I figured that was a real blessing to get. What do I? I love playing the villain because it for some reason people connect to villains. It's amazing. Like, well, look at our president. We won't go there. Sorry.
Please do.
That's a whole other show.
That is a whole other show.
Talk about Georgia impeachment.
Yeah, I try to, it's weird. Once I got into this horror genre, whatever, the fans are some of the most dedicated, the most diligent. They really take this genre really serious, and I've been just blessed to meet all these amazing people. But then I have to remember, growing up, I was really into like Halloween, all the horror movies that I went to see. I kind of stopped seeing them later in life, but I was into them big time growing up. But yeah, so I think the villain taps into that a little part of everybody that wishes sometimes they could do what some of these characters are doing and getting away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not getting away with it, but either way.
Being in the moment even through their eyes of what they're doing.
Yeah, and I try not to, without getting too actory, because I don't like, talking too actory talk. But I try not to, I just try to show up and hit my mark. But I try not to judge the characters, because I think I don't think anybody really starts out to be a villain, and so even if you were to ask a person, do you think you're really a bad person? They're in denial anyway. So I always try to play the character from, with some sort of vulnerability somewhere that maybe an audience can connect to. I have a certain, my voice doesn't really match, like, I have a sort of a higher pitched southern voice at times, so it doesn't really always make for the most like on the nose villain, which I think sometimes works in my favor. Right. So it's a little bit of the opposite, and so sometimes the audience pulls for my characters even if I'm a bad guy.
Now, has there
in a strange
has
way.
there been any roles that you have done that were that you've played that were maybe difficult for you to get into character?
Well, yeah, I would say, like, when I did this horror film Hansel and Gretel with Dee Wallace, where I was one half of a crazy sadistic set of twins, and that was just every day was stabbing and butchering and torturing, and it was like, you have to. I'm on those sets. You're laughing all the time because it's so ridiculous.
Right.
Most of the time. But at the but after like 12 or 13 days, I remember just thinking, gosh, I really this is like a lot of heavy killing.
Yeah.
Even though it was light and humorous and whatever. Because then when I watched the movie, here's the weird thing. I like playing these characters. I don't always enjoy watching some of the really bloody. I can't do all the bloody stuff.
Yeah, it gets to be too much.
Making it doesn't bother me, but someone said to me, it's sort of like their uncle is a butcher, and he does that for a living, and so he rarely ever eats like steak or
I could imagine.
I don't blame him. Oh my gosh.
So really, it's just been the times when it's been that sort of gory, bloody. When it's the more psychological thriller, menacing stuff, that's like things that can really happen in life. Those aren't as bad, but the bloody, gory stuff is. And also in that movie, like I then got stabbed in the back, and there was just a lot of stuff in that. There was a lot of physicality in that movie.
Knives have turned. See.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the recently released production entitled Anyone Home?
Hello.
So what's the background of that film?
Well, originally it was titled Model Home, and it's one of my favorite films, and I'm not saying that because it's the most recent, but because actually truth be told, we shot this movie 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I think. It's another example of I say to actors out there, this was a film. It's an indie film. It's a first-time director, Patrick Cunningham, and first-time writer, director, and co-writer William Frank. But it was an example where we did the film, and then it got picked up, and it was screened, and it just so we kept shooting additional footage to be added to it. So this lasted over a period of a few years of going back and adding stuff. But yeah, so basically it's taking this whole idea of home staging for real estate and taking it to the next level of, instead of just staging with furniture, you actually hire a family. In this case, they hired a single mother and her young son to actually live in it's called live staging, to live in the house. But unfortunately, they did not do a thorough enough background check on the mother, and so what turns out to be what seems like this really sweet mother, single mom, is not exactly what she is. And so it's a real take on the housing crash of 2008, and also mental illness and how mental illness affects people in today's society. And it's all kind of blended into the psychological thriller, but we basically get to go inside the mind of a bipolar woman what happens when she's not on her medication.
Oh
wow, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And so I play Walker, who's this like desert rat. I live in this like beat up RV in the desert, but I sort of just I stumble into a bad situation that just goes to hell and back. And so I mentioned how I get to sort of the tables are turned, and I'm sort of the victim in this movie. But the performance of Monique Gabriella Kernan, who plays the mother, and this young actor Luke Ganelin, he's phenomenal.
Wow.
I mean,
How old is he, the young one?
well, now he's probably 25 now. No, I mean, he's probably married. No, I think he's I mean, because he was playing like young. He was playing probably 8 or 9, but he's probably 12 or 13 now.
Okay.
But but yeah, he was playing a much younger kid at the time. But what he does in this film is amazing. He has to really go to places really deep and dark, and and so that's out on video on demand now on all the platforms. Whatever that is. I'm old, but it's like iTunes and Vimeo, and
there's so many platforms
nice.
now. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out tonight.
Oh yeah, please do. I always say if you hate it, it's only an hour and 24 minutes. So
You can bear with it for the hour.
And if not, if you love it, it'll end so fast, and you're like, oh my god, I wanted to see more.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see though. That's a really good concept.
Yeah.
I have never seen it or heard of it before or since. And shout out to Gravitas Ventures, who picked up the movie, because they're a really great distribution company, and they have a great catalog. So I was really thrilled for Patrick and William and the team that put it together, because it's a long. People don't understand. It can be years with an indie project. So to finally see it to fruition is a big accomplishment.
I can, that's definitely a dream come true. And I think the one of the reasons why I'm so intrigued to see it is because it is different. It's a very different concept in a world where it just seems like everything is being repeated.
Oh, Disney.
This it just seems like it's a concept that is, of course, something that we've all seen.
Right.
But how it's brought, if that makes any sense, is different.
Well, and it could really happen, that it's like it's instead of like the monster under the bed kind of movie, it's something that could really happen, and it's a commentary like on today's society with mental illness. And then I don't know. Homelessness is like my platform, and that's ironically I play many homeless people, but I'm doing a whole series of shows on my podcast on the horrors and heroes. I call it the heroes and horrors of homelessness, because in LA, LA has the worst, largest homeless situation in the country.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so that's become a real platform of mine. But this is sort of like this 2008, when the housing crisis hit. was a beginning for a lot of people of not being able to ever get back on their feet financially.
Yeah.
It was sort of, it's been like a 10-year plus, and then you throw mental illness into that, and then you have families living on the street, and I'm sure you have it in your city. It's in every city.
Yeah.
You heard the president calls a rat-infested area, so we're not, by the way, but you heard it.
I know.
From Mr. Orange
well,
himself.
I'm doing a second interview coming up with his name is General Jeff, and he's called the mayor of Skid Row in Los Angeles. And the reason I want to do a follow-up now because, some politicians, Trump and other people came to L.A.
Oh, yeah.
And, yes, and tried to, latch on to the homeless platform. And I just wanted to find out from him, was anything really done?
Right.
I think it was just a photo op.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's what that was.
Yeah.
Just a photo op.
Just another opportunity for the lights, camera, action. Well, for those of you who are tuning in, make sure you check out Anyone Home, available on video on demand and the platforms as well. Is it on Amazon, do you know?
I think it will eventually go to Amazon, Netflix, and right now I know for sure it's on iTunes and Vimeo,
VOD.
But I think if you just Google Anyone Home with a question mark after home, you could. And I think, and my website is jaspercole.com, and there's links on there as well.
Oh, perfect.
Which actually, jaspercole.com has all my show, my Twitter, anything about me and my career. If you want to contact me, it's all on my website as well.
I've been there, guys. He's telling the truth.
It's true.
It's all on there. I was just on there last night, so I told you I do my research.
Oh,
so,
good. Well, I'm glad to know it's
actually
actually up and running. So
it is. I can guarantee you that it is.
Oh, good.
So now you have received hundreds of TV and film credit. Well-known national TV commercials, TV shows. ABC, CBS, Nickelodeon, HBO. I can go on the list forever. We'd be done with the show by the time we get done. Now, one of my favorites, though, was The Purge, Anarchy, because I love The Purge. I love those movies. It's crazy. It's creepy, but I love that movie and those series.
I do, too. I love those films.
So, it's just, chaotic. Now, out of all your previous productions, what would be your top three? It's going to be hard. Your top three favorite and why?
In any of the genres?
Any production you've done.
Oh, wow.
I know. I put you on the fire there.
on the theater side, I could go down. Theater is, I have so many favorites, but in TV and film, I always have to put MacGruber at the top because MacGruber was 10 years ago, and it was a Saturday Night Live film with Lorne Michaels and Will Forte and Kristen Wiig. So for me, back to the comedy thing, of course, it was a big break for me in terms of being like sixth, seventh billing in a studio picture, and it was a comedy, and I got to work with Val Kilmer and all these amazing people. So, so I put that up there. I would say TV, I've had so many amazing TV opportunities. I really have. More recently, I got to work on the TV show Training Day, and I was actually on the episode where the late Bill Paxton's son was guest starring on the show, playing a father-son storyline where the father gets killed, and then sadly, literally 2 months after we wrapped this, Bill died having open heart surgery.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, and it was that was supposed to be a series that would have ran for I think a while, but it didn't, sadly. And then I think the other highlight would be back in 1998. I did not act, but I co-produced a Paramount pilot called Texarkana, and I got to work with Sam Elliott, who
nice.
Is one of my heroes as an actor and as a husband and a man. And I got to spend 12 days, 14 hours a day with Sam Elliott on the producing side, but I got to watch him as an actor and learn from him and learned about the business and, just everything with him. So that always sticks out in my mind is getting to work. And I would love to work with him as an actor. It hasn't happened, But
that's a memory you'll never forget.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you can't erase that, so that's good.
Yeah, because, Sam was the kind of guy, he just was so real and down to earth. I remember, I can tell this story. I remember on the first day of shooting, he he's got that gravelly voice, and he looked around, and when you're on these TV productions, there's hundreds of people, and there's trucks and cranes and blah blah blah.
Oh yes.
And he said, "Hey Jasper, see all these assholes." He wasn't talking. He was pointing over to a group of like executives. He wasn't talking about them. He goes, "They've been trying to get me to do TV for years. I really stuck it to them this time." But, and he was the one that was telling me, like, it's not brain surgery, just be kind to everybody. It's, you're not doing anything special. This is just a job. That's a myth I'd like. I don't know if this happens in acting classes. I don't know where this happens, where actors get this idea that what they're doing is like so special and it's so unique, and well, I mean, it's a wonderful job, and it's but it's not brain surgery. We're not curing cancer,
right?
And someone asked me the other day, what is your idea of success? And I said steady employment, because it's when you start working in TV and film, you get on a set and you realize actors are just one of the many spokes in the wheel, but we're not really even that important. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, just keeping it real. We can be replaced with one phone call.
That's very true.
But it's hard to replace the guys that are lugging the cables and the grips and the ones that are doing all the heavy lifting. Those guys are hard to replace. So I always tell actors, you're replaceable really fast. So be kind, be on time, be courteous, be prepared, and just be so grateful that you have a job.
Right.
Because what we live for, we live between action and cut. You guys know.
Yes.
You live for those moments when you're acting, but the real job is the other 12 hours where you have to, just be a regular person and working on a set with people.
Yep.
And nobody wants to spend 12 hours a day with a jerk.
That's very true.
Doesn't matter how talented you are, because a lot of people think it's all about talent. It's just so not. It's it's really about your reputation and people wanting. They'll hire somebody that's not as quote talented, because they want to spend the day with them.
Yeah,
that is so true. That is so true.
I mean, people and actors, we go on these auditions and then we wonder, like, why we didn't get the job. And I always say, every actor listening, if you can be a reader, do something to get on the other side of the table, so when you see these auditions and you know how non-personal they are, and you realize 10 people can come in and just knock it out of the park, and they're all brilliant, but there's just something about this one person, and they may not have even given the best reading, but they are just the essence of the character, and there's not what the other actors did not even matter, because it was going to be that. I always say it was their part that day.
Right.
Yep.
It just wasn't my part,
Yeah.
And let it go. Yeah. Let it go and have a great life. Go out and have a full day, and don't obsess on it, and don't hang all your self-worth on it.
Yeah. And that's the hardest.
That is difficult.
That's one of the hardest parts as an actor is not getting down in the dumps, because you think, but you talked about it in one of the other interviews as well, and I'm sure those of you who are actors watching, this as well. You're not going to get every gig, and you're not really an actor if you do. I mean, something's wrong with you if you're getting every gig. You're probably not really living life. You're probably dreaming. Wake the hell up. No, honestly, you're not going to get everything, and you have to be grateful for what you do get. And I think people forget that, and I think people let themselves down or get discouraged because of one or two turn downs back to back.
Yeah.
Don't.
Oh my God! I mean, it's really, we are professional auditioners. That's what we are. Getting the job is sort of the bonus check, but we're professional auditioners now. With all the self-taping, everything out is 90% is self-taping, and I have to. Of course, I'll still have to audition till the day I retire. So so I go in, or now I go and tape. I know, like, my group of guys. There's like 10 of us, and it's just a matter of, like, who do they want? Do they want the long hair and the beard? They want the redheaded guy? Do they want, so, but that only comes after you've been able to work for a while. You can get the confidence of not taking it so personal.
Yeah.
Right. I understand when we're trying to establish ourselves, it's very hard not to not to take it like, well, what did I do wrong, or how could I have been better? Or, a lot of my actors that I manage, they always want me to get feedback on the auditions, and it's almost like casting directors, they really can't give feedback. I mean, unless somebody's just really horrible, seriously, but I wouldn't be sending them in. You know what I mean? So there's really no feedback to give other than that just wasn't your part today. Just keep going. Because on the on the TV side, guys listening too, you could go in for the same show 10 times before you ever book a part, and the vote of confidence is not the booking the part, is the fact that they keep bringing you back in over and over again.
Right.
Repetition. So
you want to make it. You want to have a relationship with all the casting people and the producers where they love to bring you in, but unfortunately, the decision making now is left up to like the 4 corporations that own the studios. So back in the day, a casting director used to be able to offer actors parts, but now they can't do that. So.
Right.
We have to go to producers for like a 2-line part. The times have changed. And I say to actors, older actors, a lot of my buddies are like disgruntled and I'm done with it. And I always go, that's when it's time for you to leave.
Yeah.
If you can't roll with the changes, then don't be the old man, get off my lawn guy on the yelling. I mean, because we just have to roll with it and go with the changes. So that's what I say. Yeah, I love self-tapes. If I never have to leave the house, that's
even better.
That's great for me.
That I love it too, because I can.
It's convenient.
It is convenient, and it gives me an opportunity to change what I don't like. It's just
do your best performance.
I send in what I think is my best work instead of having to do it right in front of them.
Now we are coming down, Jasper, to our last, believe it or not, our last few minutes. It went by so quick. But I know that Jonée has one additional question that we'd like to ask you before we depart today. So I'm going to let her take that one off.
Yes. So previously you did mention something about an acting class. So I have a question. If you were training in acting class, what would be a technique that you would teach aspiring actors?
I think probably one of the best things I would first teach is I would want to teach everything about the business side of the business first.
That's good.
In terms of agents and managers, and when you're ready to, when you should need one or when you don't, and I would just stress to actors also about just try to do everything you can, do every stage production, every student film, every web series, YouTube, as much experience as you can get. It's like on the job training. Class is great. But the only way you're going to really find yourself as an actor is to do it. And so you need to just, now with all the opportunities with internet and web shows, and there's no dearth of it. And so looking back now, because a lot of the young people, theater's not their thing now. So I do think class, if you can get in a ongoing scene study where you're getting up every week, working, it's just like going to the gym and working on your you might know how to do the exercise, but if you don't go do it, I just think it's a matter of just doing as much acting as you can, and you will find your own technique. You will find what works for you as an actor. And the last thing I gotta say to young actors, please don't change who you are. If people start telling you to fix your voice or fix your nose or change your weight or change your, that very thing that you're going to change is going to be what probably would have gotten you a job. So please embrace all of who you are and do not start trying to look like somebody else.
That's a big one.
Be you.
That's a big one.
Yeah, because that's what's going to get you in that lane that we talked about early on, trying to find your own typecasting. You typecast yourself and let the business find you.
Absolutely. Well, that's first of all a good point and good tips, because a lot of people don't think like that. So we appreciate that. And give us your website again, and those who are tuning in, your social media.
So my website is jaspercole.com, and I'm also Jasper Cole Says, SAYS is my Instagram and Twitter, and then One-on-One with Jasper Cole, I have pages on all the social networks for that, and I'm on Facebook as well. And hit me up. I'm very political on Facebook, and I'm really open to having all the people who want to can contact me. So
Perfect.
I'm just an open book, literally.
Well, we appreciate it for giving us the reading of your open book today, Jasper
Yes.
Cole. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed it a lot. Thank you again for taking the time to call in, and
Yes.
we will definitely be tuning in, especially to your new film, Anyone Home, but
Yes.
also all the different things you've done. Go to jaspercole.com to check those out. Again, thank you so much for calling in, Jasper.
Thank
We'll
you,
talk to
guys.
soon.
God bless you. Have a
Thank
great rest of the
you.
night.
Good
Thank you.
night.
You as well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And everyone else who's tuning in, we're about to say goodbye. But we will be back next week with Megan Roshan once again to talk about her stage play that's coming up.
Whoop,
And we're looking forward to that as well. So we'll be back next Thursday at the same place, the same time. See you next week.
Adios, amigos.